Okay, so welcome everyone, nice to have you here. Also welcome to those who are listening to this online. Now today we have another question. Let me see. Okay, so the question today is, hey Tobi, what is the difference between loving kindness and love and kindness, please? Which is metta, please? Okay. Difference between loving kindness as well as love and kindness. Is there a difference? Which one is metta? So metta is very often translated as loving kindness, sometimes also as goodwill, or kindness, just kindness. Some people sign their mails with metta. So from now on, you know what that means. I tend to do that too sometimes, just writing down metta. So now you know what metta means. It means this kind of friendliness, goodwill, kindness, loving kindness. Now one problem with words is that you might be seeking for a perfect description of a feeling and you never quite get it. You try to kind of access a feeling by finding the correct label of that feeling or the correct explanation of how to generate that specific feeling. And it never really does the trick, because everyone is hearing different meanings. Everyone is experiencing words in a very different way. It depends on their mood of the listener, depends on the way they have learned to interpret language through their life experiences so far. So it's always a tricky thing with words. Some people, for example, they might really like what I say, and other people they say, well, that's mumbo jumbo, or it doesn't make any sense what Tobi is talking about. Others yet say, well, it's pretty boring what I say. Fact is, I use a certain group of words and I put them together into sentences and I talk a little bit about something from my own background, my own experiences, my own very limited way of describing something. All that is, of course, conditioned. So if we attach a label to a feeling, or an intention, a particular intention if you want, and we call it like kindness or love and so forth, that it can be understood in many ways. And so trying to kind of find the one perfect description of what is very difficult. Because there's always people who would agree and then others who disagree and so forth. What's more important than the descriptions, therefore, and that I need to say before we go into the explanation of loving kindness a little bit more, is the actual feeling. And in order to access that feeling, you kind of have to trust yourself a little bit. You have to learn to trust your experience a little bit. For me, for example, for a long time I was struggling a great deal with kindness, with metta, because I always felt like I wasn't really getting it. Or the kindness that I feel is not real enough, there is still ego in it, or is it really kindness, what I feel? I would ask myself all the time. So I was always kind of insecure about it. Is what I feel really the real deal kindness? Is it the kindness of the Buddha? And of course, I would feel like, no, by far not. It's not the kindness of the Buddha. I still feel that way, by the way. But I would kind of seek to compare my kindness with texts, for example. What's the definition of kindness as stated in the most authentic scripture? And so then I would look for definitions of kindness, then I would listen to teachers explaining all about kindness. And in the end, it was still an act of trust. I still had to kind of trust my way into feeling kind. And when I say feeling kind, you will all feel something slightly different. And it's okay. You will not feel the same kind of taste of kindness, but you will feel kind of your own colored version of kindness when you start to develop and cultivate kindness. And I would also say that there are kind of two types of kindness in my experience. There is one type of kindness that can be cultivated, that can be conditioned, that can be practiced, if you will. And then there is another type of kindness which is the result of insight, the result of understanding something properly or realizing something. Maybe a better word than understanding might be realizing something for yourself. Realizing truth leads to a kinder relationship with other beings, which is based on understanding or understanding other beings. And it's a very specific kind of understanding that leads to the arising of kindness, that causes kindness. So we can use that in a logical way, based on reasoning, for example, to cultivate a feeling, a sense of gentleness and kindness and friendliness towards another being or towards ourselves. Or we realize directly truth for ourselves, and kindness is kind of a natural consequence out of that. So let's maybe go with the way that is a bit more easy for most people, the cultivation of a loving, of a kind, a friendly feeling towards someone. And of course the most important someone in that practice, or not the most important, but the first one that we need to direct kindness to is, as you might have guessed already, is yourself. I would even go that far to say that you cannot be kind towards someone else other than yourself if you are not kind towards yourself. Then it's like a counterfeit kindness. It's not a real, it's not the genuine thing. It's kind of like a mask that you're wearing. And very often that is also motivated by the wish to get something in return then. Because you're coming from an empty place. You're not coming from a full place. You're not filled just yet. You're still empty. You're still lacking because you haven't been kind to yourself. You're still missing something very important. You're missing the elixir or the substance of kindness within yourself. So you basically have nothing to give. You're a giver with empty pockets. Many people, they would say these kind of things. I've been counseling many people who come to the retreats and here to the classes, and very often I hear this kind of sentiment that someone says, I'm always so kind to everyone around me, but I totally neglect myself. It seems to be a very popular thing. A lot of people are doing this. And So we need to always start giving kindness or friendliness, love, if you want to use that word, to yourself. Now what is metta? Let's use the original word, maybe metta. Yeah. So what is this metta? How do you know whether you are feeling metta or not? That's pretty difficult to know in the beginning. And you will never figure it out intellectually. You might even say it's like a trick of the intellect to keep you trapped. That you're not trusting your own feelings because you have learned not to trust your own feelings. You might be feeling perfectly kind towards a cat, but then the intellect comes in and says, is this metta? Or is it just, am I just enjoying myself here? Is it just some selfish form of joy? What is it? How do I call this? It doesn't really matter actually how you call it. What matters is that you have a very gentle, kind, friendly, warm attitude towards another being, for example, or towards yourself. So you need to find kind of what is it that gives you this kind, gentle, friendly, warm attitude. Is there something that makes you kind of melt internally? Makes you go, that's super cute. I love it. This is making my heart melt. That's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good sign that your heart is opening up, that you are accessing a deeply beneficial state of mind. The appreciation of another being's cuteness, for example, the appreciation of another being's loveliness. So kindness has a lot to do with appreciating another being, just enjoying the presence of another being, allowing that presence of another being to let your heart melt, being touched by it, accessing that soft kind of energy inside of yourself. For some people, that's the case when they see cute little animals like puppy dogs or kittens, then their heart is melting. That's probably one of the reasons why these are so popular on social media, like cute little kitten videos or puppy dog videos or something, because it kind of opens something inside of you that is deeply gentle, that's very soft. It's a very lovely kind of feeling. In that moment, when you see such a video, you kind of forget your problems and you're just melting there. So I would say, in order to kind of access metta, these kind of videos do help. They can be a help to access that feeling. Now, can you have that same kind of feeling towards yourself? When you're looking at yourself, can you have that same kind of feeling? How cute is that? How cute. Usually we don't feel that way about ourselves. We feel more like, as adults, we feel most of the time very serious about ourselves. We're walking around in the shopping mall or somewhere and we feel very serious about ourselves. Like we're very important and what we have to do right now is very important. You sit there in the restaurant and you eat your spaghetti and it's serious business. And now let's say someone from outside, like some sort of god or angel, would see you from the sky, that little tiny, small human being there sitting down in the restaurant, eating its spaghetti. Maybe they would go like, how cute is that? Look at this little tiny human being eating its cute little spaghetti. And look how serious he feels about himself. And his big worries and his personality and his job and his relationships, and look how serious he takes all of this. Isn't this cute? He thinks he's so important. That's kind of really cute. Because it's a different perspective. You're looking at this tiny little human being from above. You're not kind of in it. So you're not taking yourself as serious as you usually would take yourself. So it helps to assume a different perspective for a little while. It helps too. So watching cute kitten videos or puppy dog videos helps. It kind of gives you that initial feeling of a melting open heart. It's the energetic sensation that you get when you're watching these kind of videos. That is kind of the entry gate, the entry door to metta, to kindness. Feeling warmth, connection. That's very good. It's a good feeling to cultivate, and particularly towards yourself. Why would that be beneficial to see yourself as a cute, lovely little human being? Well, it helps because you're not taking yourself so seriously anymore, so it's not that heavy anymore. You have a more light-hearted, or open-hearted, if you want, experience of yourself. It's more pleasant. It's lighter. Feels good. It's healthy. It helps you to smile. It helps you to have a good feeling in your body, a blissful feeling in your body, a joyful feeling. Maybe not just blissful right away, but joyful. Feeling joyful, and that is healthy. Not only mentally, but also physically even is healthy if you're in a joyful state. And that lightheartedness furthermore helps you to lead a more efficient life. It's not that serious anymore. It's not like me and my problems. That's very heavy, it's very dark, in a way very constricted. If you can get out of this a little bit and get some perspective, I'm that tiny little cute human being on this blue ball floating somewhere in infinity, in this infinite space. Put it in perspective, and then also it helps to be more lighthearted. And lightheartedness in itself helps you to be more efficient in life, a better problem solver, for example. Your problems will still be there, as they are there for all of us. But you can now put more energy into solving them more efficiently, because you have extra energy, and it comes from joy. Joy gives you energy. Kindness leads to joy. Naturally, kind people are people that are more joyful. For example, if you are generally a person that enjoys helping others, then these kind of people, they enjoy helping others. They have very joyful characters. You can look at them. Observe these people, because they are further away from the heavy load of ego, because they're more outgoing. They help, they benefit others. That's another benefit of kindness, isn't it? You are not busy, you're not lost in yourself due to kindness. You're able to relate to others, and that's on a very basic level. The level that we all know. If you go out and you help others, and you're actually translating your kind feeling into action, if you enjoy helping others, your life's quality will be uplifted. And helping others comes out of kindness. The idea to help another being, it comes out of kindness. It comes out of compassion. These two, they go hand in hand. They're like brother, sister, kindness and compassion. Where there is kindness, there's also compassion. Where there is compassion, there's also kindness. They always come hand in hand. Because kindness is very often defined as the wish for someone to be happy. I think that's a very good definition. Now let's take this warm, energetic feeling that you have when you see the puppy dog. Let's just take that as our example. You can find your own kind of example that works for you. And now can you wish that puppy dog to be happy? It will be very easy if you're in that particular warm-hearted, energetic frequency. It'll be easy to wish the dog well. I wish you well, I wish you happy, I wish you good health. It's almost like a natural consequence out of this warm-hearted, open feeling. Compassion, on the other hand, is to wish someone to be free from suffering. Both kindness and compassion, they are caused by an understanding of suffering. If you can understand suffering. It depends how deeply you understand. You have empathy. You're able to relate to someone because you understand their suffering. This is a quality that human beings have very strongly, actually. We can understand another being's suffering, some more, some less. Some human beings, they cannot understand other people's suffering at all. They're not empathic at all. They don't have this quality. And some, they can understand other beings suffering very intensely. So much so that they themselves start to suffer from it. Now there is a thin line between pity and compassion also. You might understand another being suffering very strongly and it might turn into pity and you suffer with them together. That's a bit like seeing someone drown and you cannot swim and you jump into the water and you drown just with them. It doesn't help anyone. It's just another being that suffers then. Right? So in order to help others, you have to be in a strong position, a position of not suffering, maybe a joyful position, so you can balance out another person's suffering. And how can you do that? By kindness. By using kindness. First towards yourself, filling yourself up. And you would only do that if you understand your own suffering, your own limitation, the limitation of ego, a limitation of delusion, a limitation of being ruled by this conditioned mind. And then you have this sincere desire to be free from that. And then kindness translates that into action. You do something to get out of your suffering. That's how they go like hand in hand, kindness and compassion. Compassion keeps you go all the time. And kindness is the step that you make, are the steps that you do. Every time you sit down, you do your meditation. Is it motivated by kindness? Are you sitting down having a warm feeling for yourself, giving yourself a break, allowing yourself to get out of suffering for a little while, unburdening yourself? Meditation. Sitting down, unburdening yourself. Nice. That is very kind. You're very kind to yourself. And if you know it, if you know that you're very kind towards yourself in that moment, then you can also feel this kindness more intensely. You can put emphasis on this kindness. The way it works for me is by seeing myself as what I really am, a little tiny human being trying to be happy. Not having a clue of anything really, not knowing anything. What do I really know? Not much there. Most stuff that I think I know is stuff that I have learned to repeat. It's just repetition. read it in a book somewhere, or I have heard it in school, or watched a YouTube video about it, and so now I think I know when all I can really do is repeat something that someone else said. True direct knowledge is something entirely different. Someone that has great mindfulness doesn't know the world in terms of very abstract commentary. The opposite the case. There is no commentary to the world. What do you know if your mind doesn't spin up words all the time? What is it that is left when you're not formulating any story in your head anymore about future and past? It's not much that you know. It's very deep, but it's not much. It's not very vast. It's very simple, but very powerful. Powerful in the sense that it liberates you from suffering. The ultimate act of kindness is to give yourself a break from this incessant inner chatter that constantly goes on. That is a great act of kindness towards yourself. Giving yourself freedom of future and past. It's a great act of kindness. So what is the difference between loving kindness and love and kindness? These are all words. Love is a word, kindness is a word, loving kindness is a word. Commonly, love is very often, for most people, they refer to romantic love. When we're talking about love, they refer to romantic love. I love you very much. Yes, I love you too. This kind of love. And also that very often is left unchecked. We're not really questioning our romantic love. What is really behind those words? I love you. What is it really that I express there when I say that? What happens if my partner doesn't respond when I say those words? What does it reveal within me if I don't hear the answer to those words? Why do I say these words? What's in it for me? So this is kind of romantic love. It's almost always some form of business. I love you because you love me. I love you because you behave a certain way or you look a certain way. So it's in a way no different than saying I love that movie or I love chocolate, because it benefits me. And if we're honest enough, if we're sincere enough in observing ourselves, then we can see that I love you because there's certain conditions that I like. And I will consume them for a little while until kind of get enough of them, or I need other different kind of conditions. And that's then when the fighting and the bickering starts in relationship. When the other person isn't able to match up to your expectations anymore. When they do what they want to do, even if you don't like it. When another human being is just another human being. And then they don't act the way you would like them to act, then your love goes out the window. Then it turns into anger. So that kind of love, that is not metta. This is just romantic love, or you can also say attachment to another being. Kindness comes a little bit closer. Kindness is something that is a bit less excluding. Romantic love very often is reserved for one being that kind of belongs to us for a certain time. We say, you are my wife now. I possess you, I own you, otherwise why would we use a possessive pronoun? My wife, right? So it's a feeling that it belongs to me, she belongs to me. Therefore, I love her, or she belongs to me, and I find fulfillment through another being temporarily, is what that really means. I find seeming fulfillment or short-lived fulfillment. But kindness is a bit more inclusive of other people. You can be kind towards anyone. And if kindness flows into your relationship, even into your romantic relationship, it will be a very good relationship. So I think love can only benefit if it is carried by kindness. And kindness, now that's just my opinion, is the ability to allow another being to be as it is. You're not putting restrictions on other people. You're not putting them into a little cage and say, other living beings on this planet, they have to be like this and like that. And if they're not like this and like that, I will fight them. I will resist them and I will punish them. Because they're not the way they should be. They're not the way my mind tells me they should be. That's the source of all wars and conflicts and problems in this world. It is a lack of kindness. We're not allowing each other to be. Christians don't allow Muslims, Muslims don't allow Christians, and that they're basically preaching pretty much the same stuff. There's only one God and so forth. Why would they fight? For what reason? Why would they fight? Because they do not allow each other to be. Why would a husband fight his wife? Because he doesn't allow her to be who she is. Then he needs to tell her, you shouldn't be like that. And then she will respond, yeah, but I am like that, and if you have a problem with that, you can move out. And she doesn't allow him to be angry also. And so it goes back and forth. We're not allowing each other to be. Why not? Because we're not even allowing ourselves to have emotions. We're not allowing ourselves to have certain thoughts. In fact, we're most of the time not even aware that we have emotions or thoughts. We're constantly busy trying to get to the next moment, because this moment is just so uncomfortable, because we are unable to allow this moment. We're racing after the next, constantly. So our kindness would be able to include suffering. It allows other people to be who they are. It allows myself to be who I am. So in a way I can make peace with myself. I can say, okay, yeah, there is anger, there's emotions, like normal human stuff. It's all there. But I have no conflict with it. I give it a kind space, and in that kind space it can do whatever it wants to. And then that's the time when these feelings dissolve, these heavy, hard, painful feelings. They can dissolve in that kindness. So it's a very powerful add-on to anything. Whatever you do, if you add kindness, there is a dimension of space coming into it. Whereas ego is pretty much the opposite. It's a dimension of contraction. Ego is constantly, it's fearful. It's fearful of being discovered as a fraud. It's fearful, there's a constant kind of, like a stream of discomfort within the egoic kind of mindset. There's always looking for something. And why would it do that? Because it is uncomfortable with what is. It is not able to allow what is. Because it doesn't yet know what real kindness is like. Can only imitate it. But imitating kindness already is a process that works towards yourself. It works towards the inside. Which you first have to give kindness to yourself. And if you give kindness to the ego, you basically leave it alone. You're not fighting yourself anymore. There's a higher instance in which that kind of mental self-construct has no more power. Within this kind, knowing space, there is no power for ego, for the self. In there, it is simply known. And it is allowed. And since it's just a mental construct, what power could it have? So now a simple practice that you could do to discover kindness or to play with it a little bit might be sitting down, and the traditional practice is to recite those wishes for yourself. May I be happy, may I be well, may I be healthy. You can add your own kind of positive wishes that you have for yourself. May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be well. And then test a little bit. How does it feel like wishing yourself such things? Wishing yourself well. Is there a feeling tone to these words? What kind of feeling tone is there? Then you might step out a little bit, see yourself from a distance as that small, tiny human being that is in the midst of this group of human beings, just trying to survive, trying to be happy, struggling day in, day out, running here, running there, constantly busy, always searching something. Can you see that from a distance? Can you see yourself from a distance and then wish it again? May this tiny little conditioned human being down there, may it be happy, healthy and well. Does it have a different quality? How can you feel about yourself? Maybe you can visualize yourself sitting in front of your body, sitting in front of you, looking at yourself. Maybe you can sit in front of a mirror actually, and then talking to yourself, wishing yourself well. I wish you well, I wish you happiness, I wish you good health. May you be safe. Maybe in the beginning you feel nothing, or it feels plain weird to do this. Strange exercise. Keep going, keep talking to yourself throughout the day. Keep talking to yourself nicely. Oh, you did well there. Excellent, you did a meditation. If you're talking to yourself in the you form, it would be like that, right? Oh wow, I did well there. Oh, I'm enjoying myself. What a beautiful place that I can be in. Whatever it is that comes to mind, can you change your inner talk to make it a bit more nice and kind? If you would be talking kind to yourself on the inside, how would that look like? So for that you have to discover how you are currently talking with yourself. It might help to write that down. What kind of thoughts towards yourself do you have mostly? In what tone do you talk to yourself mostly? Is it like a friend? Is it humorous, kind, friendly, warm-hearted? Or is it more like a harsh, militaristic? Pardon? Judgmental, yes. So have a look at how do you talk with yourself. Can you change the tone of voice? Can you change the content of how you're talking to yourself and see what happens? See what happens in your life. And then, like a miracle, see how you start thinking about others. It changes. If you start looking at yourself more positively and with kindness, it becomes more easy to accept other people and to see the good in others, because you have trained it within yourself. You are able to see the good in yourself. So you start to see it within others automatically. That's a very powerful experience. On the other hand, how do you think about others mostly? When you see others on the street, there might be an easier way for you to find out how you are mostly thinking about yourself. So let others be like a mirror. How you approach other people, how you think about them. Is it mostly negative and critical, or kind, welcoming, allowing, happy? Also, that in itself is an act of kindness, talking in a nice way to yourself and to others. Here, kindness is directly translated into action, and kindness that is not translated into action directly is not very useful. Kindness needs to be an action. You need to get out there and do stuff. Be kind in doing kind things to yourself, to others. And it starts with thinking. And it starts with the way you feel. And then action comes out of that quite naturally. Now, whereas this really is kindness, what I've been talking about, loving kindness or metta, maybe someone would disagree. They would say, no, this is not metta because in this and that text it was defined differently or whatever. So let's just say it is something that is without any doubt going to be very beneficial in your life. It's going to be having an uplifting impact on your life. The way you feel, the way you think, the way you act. Is it uplifting? Is it a cause of joy? Very likely coming from metta, from kindness. And once you're getting very good at giving this kindness to yourself, radiating it to yourself, giving yourself space and time and taking care of yourself in whatever ways that you can imagine, then also start sending it to other people. You can do that mentally by imagining that you're sending out light from your heart if you like, or very concretely by doing things that are kind. Smiling to others, helping them cross the street, doing work for them for free. Not because you have to do this kindness thing now, but because you enjoy sharing light. And enjoying sharing light comes out of the experience of having shared it with yourself. It's nice. And it is nice sharing it with others, of course. It's not a must. It's just a very nice thing to do. And it is something to do. Something good to do. Most of the time I'm talking about just being, just be here. Just let go, and so forth. But it's also about doing. Kindness is something to do that is very beneficial and very good way to spend your life. Okay, so that's kind of all that comes to mind about love and kindness, or loving kindness. Okay, thank you very much for coming.